Okay, sorry about that. Section 2.5, part 2. For those of you that are dying to know, why does she keep putting part 1 and part 2 for different sections? That's because I have 3 kids and they love to come in and ask me questions at, random times. Okay, so anyway, let's see. We were doing solving inequalities. That's what we were doing. So we have negative 13m greater than or equal to 65. So of course, to solve this, so you would solve like you would do any linear equation, keeping in mind that if you multiply or divide by a negative, if times or divide by a negative, you need to flip the inequality. Inequality, it's really important. So that's pretty much the big rule here. So for this one, we just divided by negative 13, so we need to flip this. So it's going to be less than or equal to negative 5, okay? So then on the number line, the nice thing about these, you can put negative 5 anywhere, right? And it's less than or equal to. So we highlight this and write this. One thing I just also want to mention about inequalities, I'm pretty sure that I did, but just in case I didn't, if we have 1 less than 2, we can rewrite that as 2 greater than 1, okay? So you can always rewrite an inequality, especially if you're solving for a variable and the variable's on the right side. It's easier to put the variable on the left because notice this is a silly thing, okay? Where it says here less than, it matches this arrow point. So that might help with graphing. I don't know. It's kind of... So then interval notation, I just pass along what people tell me sometimes when it comes to math tricks. Okay, so that's A. So the next one we have n over negative 2 greater than or equal to 8. Okay, so if this was a regular equation, we would, of course, go, okay, it's dividing. I'm going to do inverse operations, multiply both sides by negative 2. Okay, that cancels on the left-hand side. You're left with n. We're multiplying by a negative, so we need to flip the inequality. 8 times negative 2 is negative 16 today, so that is it for this one. But let's go ahead and draw the solution, right? Graph it. So negative 16, it's less than or equal to, so we're highlighting 16, negative 16, and going to the left. Okay, and then interval notation, the graph is from negative infinity, goes all the way to negative 16, and then includes it. Okay, all right, a few more. So let's say here we have something where the variable is on both sides. 6y less than or equal to 11y plus 17. Okay, so first thing, we would subtract both sides by 11y. Why would we do that? Because on the right-hand side, it's a term. They're separated, right? So we need to get rid of it. We wouldn't just multiply or divide. So that would cancel out here on the right-hand side. 6 minus 11, negative 5y on the left-hand side. Now, I don't change the sign yet because what I did was subtract. I didn't multiply or divide by a negative. I just subtracted, okay? So make sure that you are aware of the difference. However, now in this point in time, I am going to divide by negative 5 only because it's the coefficient of y. So then y, now I would switch it, okay? So I know it might seem like, well, duh, you switched it anyways, but I don't want you to be confused about when to switch. You don't switch when you're subtracting, and you don't switch when your answer is negative, like if it's a negative number. You only switch when you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number. Some people get like switch happy and then they do it and they're not supposed to. Okay, so this is it, final answer. We don't need to simplify that. I like fractions. So negative 17 over 5. We know it's approximately 3 2/5, but we don't need to do that. We're moving up. So it's greater than or equal to. So that is equal to. We close it, close circle. Your book will use a bracket. And then we shade everything to the right because it's all the values that are greater than. So interval notation, negative 17 over 5, comma, infinity. All right. One more. This one looks fun, a little bit more complicated. 8p plus 3 times the quantity, p minus 12, and parenthesis greater than 7p minus 28. So let's distribute like terms, change the color. 8p plus 3p minus 36 greater than 7p minus 28. Combining like terms. 11p minus 36 greater than 7p minus 28. Moving the constants to the right. So add 36 to both sides. 11p greater than 7p. So negative 28 plus 36 is positive 12. Okay, now I'm going to subtract 7p from both sides. And some people might go at this point, well, couldn't you have done them both at once? Yes, I could have, but I'd rather write an extra step so that it's clear what we did. So on the right, these will cancel. 11 minus 7 is 4p today. That's greater than 12. Divide by 4. So we get p is greater than 3. Okay, so the solution, it's just 3, open circle, because it does not have a line, and then graph to the right because it's greater. Now, interval notation, you can easily do so. It starts at 3, the graph starts at 3, and then continues on to infinity. Okay. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about, last thing is word problems. So how do we know when to use inequalities in word problems? I'm glad you asked that. Haha. So keywords to use the strictly greater, greater than, more than, larger than, or exceeds, greater than or equal to, at least. This is interesting, right? Is at least, no less than, or the minimum. Less than, strictly less than, is, less than, smaller than, fewer than, lower than. And then less than or equal to, we know that. At most, this much. No more than, and then the maximum. Okay. So let's say here, 27 less than x is at least 48. So 27 less than x is at least, is going to be greater than or equal to 48. Okay. So then solving that, we would get x greater than or equal to 75, and graphing, we have 75, we include it, and then to the right, so then interval notation, 75 bracket, comma, to infinity. Okay. All right, let's do a couple of problems here. Dawn won a mini grant of $4,000 to buy tablet computers for her classroom. The tablets she would like to buy cost $254.12 each, including tax and delivery. What is the maximum number of tablets that Dawn can buy? Okay, so first of all, what do we need to write down here? So we have here that, sorry, excuse me. We have, what can x represent? So x represents, let's let that be the maximum number of tablets that Dawn can buy. That's what we're looking for, right? So let x be number of tablets. And to translate into an inequality, so she spends $254.12 per each tablet. So the amount of money that she's spending is represented by the expression 254.12x. Now, it has to be no more than this. So it has to be less than or equal to 4,000, because it can't cost more than that, or else she's not going to have enough money. Okay, so let's divide both sides by 254 and 12. Okay, and we get x is less than or equal to 15.74. But since x represents number of tablets, you can't buy a fraction of a tablet, so it has to be less than 15. Okay, so then to answer the question, you'd say that Dawn can buy a maximum of 15 tablets. All right. Okay, so the next one is here. Felicity has a calligraphy business. She charges $250 per wedding invitation. Her monthly expenses are $650. So let's say here X would be the number of invites, because that's what it asks for, how many invitations. Okay, and then we have here she spends $250, but she makes $250X, right? That's how much she makes, per month. But then she needs to spend $650 flat. And she wants to get at least 2,800. So that has to be greater than or equal to 2,800. Let's solve for X. We add 650 to both sides. Okay, 250X or 2.5X will be greater than or equal to 3,450. Divide by 2.5. So X equals, so what is 3,450 divided by 2.5? So we have, has to be greater than or equal to, she has to make at least 1,380 invites. At least 1,380 invites. Okay, great. Last problem. Malik is planning a 6-day summer vacation trip. He has $840 in savings, 45 hours per tutoring. The trip will cost him $750 for airfare, $780 for sightseeing, and $95 per night for the hotel. How many hours must he tutor to have enough money for the trip? So let X be number of hours that he has to tutor. Okay. Now the expenses has to be either less than or equal to however much income he has. So what's the expenses? Expenses are going to be $525 plus $780 plus, and then $95 per night. So 6 times 95. So that's going to be a total of 1,875. Now that's the expenses. Now the amount that he earns is going to be 840 he has in savings, plus $45 times each hour of tutoring. So that's it. And this is what we need to solve. So subtract 840 from both sides. We get 1035 less than or equal to 45X. Divide by 45. And we get that X is, 23 less than or equal to X. This is 23, or X has to be greater than or equal to 23. So in other words, he has to tutor at least 23 hours. Malik must tutor at least 23 hours. Okay, that is it for this section. Good luck. There is your homework, super fun homework. Good luck, and I will see you on the next video.